I'm here today to tell you about the good word. That word is depreciation, because this 2014 Mercedes-Benz GL350 BlueTec 4matic SUV costs less now than a brand new, fully loaded Toyota Corolla. So you have to ask yourself, would you rather be driving around in a brand new Toyota Corolla or Honda Civic? Okay, you get a warranty, maybe you get some heated seats and possibly navigation. Or would you rather have a full-size flagship luxury SUV from Mercedes-Benz? Now, in the world of Mercedes-Benz, this is an X166. It is built in Alabama, and this generation ran from 2013 until 2019. Now, there was a facelift in 2016. That's when they changed the name from the GL to the GLS, now in line with what the sedans have, the C, E, and S. GLC, GLE, GLS, it makes sense. But this is a pre-facelift, has a 24-valve dual overhead cam 3-liter V6 turbo diesel engine, produces 240 horsepower but 455 pound-feet of torque. Now in Europe, the same engine had a little bit more power to it, but here they detuned it for the North American market. It uses a 7G-tronic automatic transmission, and this one is finished in citrine brown metallic paint on the brown leather. And as I said, this car is currently about $30,000. You can pick them up this generation anywhere from about the $23,000 Canadian range up to, 40, 50, depending on the trim if you had the GL550, for example, or even an AMG model. But this was the entry level. New, it would have cost $74,900 Canadian base MSRP before options. A 2013 GL350 in the US, MSRP was $63,000. So it has dropped significantly in price over the last 6 years, but it also comes very well equipped. And now you could have added a ton of things to this. Most people here in Canada didn't quite get all the options, but we do have some important ones. We do have power folding mirrors, we have the running boards, heated ventilated front seats, heated outboard rear seats with the 3-zone climate control, panoramic sunroof, and Mercedes-Benz says that they have an easy entry system into that third row, making the 7-passenger SUV a little bit easier for people using all 7 seats. Now, because this is the S-Class of SUVs, it had a lot of technology for the time. It had a crosswind assist system that would help alleviate some of the issues that you might have on a windy stretch of road or on a bridge that would push the vehicle side to side. It helps to stabilize the vehicle more than you would find on a regular SUV, especially in this size. It also had standard pre-safe with collision prevention assist and attention assist, which is technology that we more or less take for granted today on a lot of new vehicles. And they also offered night view assist plus. It's something that we don't often get to see on these vehicles that we test. It's not optioned on this one, but it is a night vision system that allows you to see better at night, especially if there isn't a lot of visibility. Now, another package that was available on this vehicle, not on this specific one, even if it was, I wouldn't be able to test it, was an on and off-road package. It came with a special off-road light package, which automatically turned on when either off-road mode was engaged. The Bi-Xenon headlights would turn outward an extra 6 degrees, the output was increased by 3 watts, and the light cone out of both were normalized. Normally on the driver's side, it outputs slightly less. The cone is a little different so that it doesn't dazzle oncoming traffic. The cornering lamps would also come on automatically, so you'd have better forward visibility if you were doing off-roading with this vehicle. Very cool stuff. You don't really see that. Even on some of the off-road vehicles we've tested, they don't have features like that. And especially if you were spending probably about $100,000 new, if you loaded one of these up completely, you don't want to be hitting something on the way if you're going to the cottage or taking it off a light off-road course. Now, I'm not saying that you should buy a 2014 GL-Class over a brand new compact sedan, but I'm saying if you were to, there's a lot of reasons why you would consider it. This vehicle comes with the Mercedes-Benz AirMatic with active dampening system, gives you even better ride control as you're driving along. It has active park assist with parking sensors on the front and the back with 360-degree camera. You have Bi-Xenon adaptive headlights. I know that technology is a little old now, but it still works very well. It has keyless go, soft closed doors, a foot activated trunk, and solar glass. We also have the Comand Navigation system on this. Again, it feels a little dated by today's standards, but it still works with the audio system selected on here. You have a 4.5-inch instrument cluster computer, and it is a 5.8-inch Command Navigation screen. You have HomeLink, second row sunshades. They're not powered and they actually come out of the side of the windows instead of the bottom like we usually see. And as I mentioned, you have the third zone and heated outboard seats for that second row. It's a 7-passenger SUV and you get a lot with it, and it's super comfortable, which is why now we're going to take this on a road test. We're going to talk about how the GL350 BlueTec performs on the road and everything else you need to know if you're in the market for a used 2014 X166 Mercedes-Benz GL-Class. Before we talk about the drive of this vehicle, I want to give a big thanks to Excellence Auto Acton for letting me come out and film this 2014 GL350 BlueTec. They have this vehicle for sale. If you're in the market for a citrine brown metallic on brown leather, they're the place to come. You can visit the website in the description below for this vehicle and see the entire inventory of vehicles they have available. So again, big thanks to Excellence Auto in Acton for letting me film this vehicle, because without their help, we wouldn't have this vehicle to feature today. But let's talk about it. Let's see how this vehicle performs on the road. The main selling feature of this is the diesel. You want to have that diesel engine because it's got the torque, and for the most part it's got fuel efficiency, especially if you're taking this on longer distance drives. You like to go on the highway, go long distances, this will be the vehicle to go with. Now, because we're only doing a shorter drive with this, I can't do our 100-kilometer test loop. I can't tell you what our fuel economy numbers would be, but it is going to be a little bit better than what you would have gotten on the GL450, as that was a gas engine. So you do have better fuel economy on this. And the great thing, why I like these cars, you can't hear it. Listen. You can never tell it's a diesel, right? I mean, you know it's a diesel, and if you're standing outside of it, you know, you'll hear it a little bit, but it's so quiet. And that's the main selling point of this vehicle back when it was new. It's one of the things that Mercedes-Benz put in their press release on this vehicle. They said that they have worked hard to ensure that the noise, vibration, and harshness on this generation GL class would be superb. And so far, it is. It's nice and quiet. I don't feel anything really. We've got the car in comfort mode for the AirMatic suspension, but that interior road noise, it's so good. That's why you're buying it. You want to be able to have a conversation with the people in the car with you. You don't want to have to be dealing with all the road noise and everything else around it. Now, there is a sport mode for the suspension. You can put it in there. It's not going to make a huge difference. You'll feel a little bit more, but this isn't meant to be a sporty vehicle. It's meant to be the S-Class of SUVs. You're supposed to be cruising and enjoying a long distance drive and being comfortable in it, which is impossible not to be with these seats. They're so nice. You have good support, excellent space for a big guy like me. So if you are a taller person, you're not going to have any space issues with it. The interior design here is good too. It is dated now, especially by the 2020 standards that we have. But you do have navigation, you have a radio system. The open pore wood looks really nice. And because this is a flagship luxury SUV, everything is leather wrapped or soft touch, except for the open pore wood, obviously, and the plastic for radio and all that. But it actually works out very well. Pretty similar to what we've seen if you watch some of the classic episodes that we've done on Test Drive. We've done a lot of Mercedes vehicles over the years, and this is very familiar to what those vehicles had about 6 years ago, which makes sense. But it is interesting to note, if you watched our episode that we just published before this on the 2020 Mercedes-AMG GLC 43, actually has some of the same controls 6 years before. The steering column area here is essentially the same. You've got the same gear shifter, you've got the same control for the wipers and all that. So they've carried over some of that stuff to the newer models, and that makes sense. As the flagship, this would have had all the new tech on it, and then it trickles down throughout the models as time goes on. So that makes sense. So it's going to be familiar even if you have a newer Mercedes-Benz, but you're really going to be buying this because you want something different. Do you really want a Corolla? I mean, okay, they work. They got a good warranty on it. It's not a Mercedes. It doesn't have this torque. It's not quick, but that torque is good. Now, there are a couple little things I want to talk about on the interior here quickly. For example, there's a button down at the bottom here where the trunk release is to open up the quarter windows on the back of the vehicle, which is really cool. You usually see that on like a minivan. You can push those out manually, but with this, they're power operated. So why would you even care about that? Not everybody will, but if you do have a set of passengers in that third row there, they might appreciate having a little bit of airflow back there. But also, if you've got a pet, perhaps you have a dog, two back there, You want them to have some fresh airflow. You can open those up, make sure they don't escape out the back, and you can still enjoy the climate control system in the front. This specific vehicle also has the Harman Kardon audio system. It sounds really good. There is a classical music CD in here. I'm not going to play it in case I get a copyright strike on it, but you do have that. I mean, obviously by today's standards, if you take a look at a new GL, they have tons of tech, but the price is also significantly higher. I mean, that thing starts at about $95,000 Canadian, and they no longer offer the diesel. So the diesel enthusiasts out there will appreciate this vehicle, but then even if you go with the gas one, the tech is still really good on this for the price. $30K, okay, you lose out on blind spot monitoring and lane keep assist and some of that stuff, but if you get a really well equipped one, you're going to find some of that stuff on there. But really, you don't need it. It's nice to have, but you don't need it. What you need though is comfort. You're not going to find that on an entry-level consumer-grade sedan for $30,000, but you are going to find that on a GL-Class. It's a Mercedes. But also, because it's a Mercedes, it might not be the one to go with. So let's jump back to the studio now. We'll talk about everything else you need to know about the GL-Class, including common problems and maintenance, so that if you are in the market for this vehicle, you'll be better equipped to know what you're looking for and to get the best deal so that you're not stuck on the side of the road with a bunch of repairs. So let's head back and we'll continue on with the X166 Mercedes GL. The joys of owning an older luxury car hit you hard, and they hit you fast. And I'm not talking about that turbo diesel torque, but rather those hefty repair bills. The GL-Class is a flagship vehicle in the Mercedes-Benz lineup, which means you're going to be in the big leagues when it comes to repairs and maintenance to keep this beauty on the road. First, let's talk about the diesel. Some Mercedes enthusiasts will argue that the newer GLS 450 gas model with the 9G-tronic is better for fuel efficiency than the pre-facelift diesels. You'll need to weigh the cost difference of premium fuel in your area versus diesel and how much long-distance driving you'll be doing over in-town trips. The AdBlue emissions control system can get costly when repairs are needed, and you might find one that the previous owner has outright removed for better power and efficiency. AirMatic is always a concern for Mercedes vehicles, like any air suspension system. Replacing any of the four shocks can be expensive, and a system failure will leave you with a horrible-looking lawn ornament. Aside from unexpected repairs that occur during the ownership of the car, there doesn't seem to be any serious red flags specific to the GL or GLS X166, though it is still early in its generation's lifespan. There's reported issues here and there of wiring problems, soft closed door issues, and even panoramic sunroofs that explode, but these aren't what I would consider to be common. You may find a rough example out there in your search, but for the most part these GL classes have held up pretty well over the last half decade, with some hitting over 200,000 kilometers in their short life. Now, you still need to budget for repairs and maintenance. While the going price for these might be around the $30,000 to $40,000 price point here in Canada, you need to set aside the funds to maintain a car that at its $74,000 original price point was costly to maintain. This is not an ideal car for a first-time buyer, nor should you be considering this if you can only afford the monthly payments or upfront cost. You'll want at least $5,000 set aside in the first year for any unexpected repairs and maintenance. Having a trusted mechanic look over the vehicle first is a must, and the service history can help with determining what maintenance might be required down the road. With a vehicle like this, you're getting the prestige and comfort of an S-Class, with the ride height and ground clearance of a proper off-roader, but for the price of a Toyota Corolla. It's up to you to decide whether you'd rather tell people about your new CVT and cutesy design on your sedan, or if you want to really show up in something great.